but all of its flesh had rotted off of its face.
I thought this was a normal deer until it opened its mouth and I saw those.
Begins when I was a child. My father at the time was a big hunter and trapper in the woods nearby. He would set traps for small game out in the woods. I remember one evening my father coming in late from checking his traps. His hands and shirt were covered in blood. Thankfully the blood wasn't his, but of that of an animal that had been caught in his trap and something bigger eating it. I remember from that night on that the woods were off limits to us kids. This was quite awful, since my brothers and sisters often played in the woods nearby. I remember asking my father why we weren't allowed in the woods, and he always gave the same answer. It wasn't safe.
It wasn't safe. All parents would say that, right?
Over the next couple of years, my father would stop hunting altogether. Hunting was something that my father and his family were quite passionate about. To see him no longer interested in his most
I gotta see, but I gotta tell y'all, when y'all passionate about something, and then y'all stop doing what y'all really love to do, then it makes other people really suspicious of you because you're not doing that thing you love to do.
Something happened in the woods that had spooked him entirely, and he wouldn't tell us what it was. I remember one Halloween when I was 15 that my brother and my friends decided to go out into those woods and stay the night in our treehouse that we'd built many years ago. Thankfully, our treehouse wasn't more than 10 minutes.
A treehouse not bad. A lot of people be building a treehouse looking so dope. It's like, bro, you already got a second home and building a treehouse? Shit, I wouldn't mind living in one.
But still, we were pretty terrified. Knowing that there was something out in the woods that spooked my father gave me the creeps. Before we entered the tree line, I always had the feeling of being watched, but I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be labeled the coward in our friend group. At this point, the sun had set, so it was dark out. We had our flashlights to guide us, but the woods were so thick that it seemed to swallow all the light that the lights gave off. The 10-minute walk into the woods felt like forever.
10 minutes?
Maybe it was further back than I remember, or maybe we were just scared.
It could? But
finally, we reached the treehouse seemed smaller than I remembered, and it looked quite weathered, but overall, it looked to be in decent condition. We climbed the ladder to our treehouse and went inside. While inside, my friends and I found all of our favorite toys that we'd left there years ago. We had a brief rush of nostalgia hitting us all at once.
Why does it look so real? Every time I watch the scary animation videos, it always turns into something that actually happened.
For a very brief moment, we felt like we were younger kids, and completely forgot that we were in the middle of the woods at night. While we were exploring the treehouse and playing with our toys, we heard a scream coming from the woods. The scream sounded close. It was a type of scream you wouldn't typically associate with a human, especially out in the woods at this hour of night. All of us were silent. Out of fear of being spotted, all of us turned off our flashlights. We were now out in the middle of the woods at night, with no lights on, with something outside. At least we were remotely safe in the treehouse, or so we thought. The treehouse provided a false sense of security. Whatever it was out in the woods probably wasn't capable of climbing the ladder. After coming to this realization, my friends and I felt that we were safe enough to turn on our flashlights. After peering around in the woods for a few minutes and not seeing anything, we decided that we've had our fun and to turn in for the night.
But why y'all didn't turn to night? We all heard that screeching noise.
This would mean that we'd have to climb down from our safe spot in our treehouse, down into the woods. We were no longer wanting to stay in that treehouse, but no one was wanting to be the first one down into the woods.
Damn good. They don't want to be the first one to
be the smallest in the group, to be the first one down into the woods. We all promised to watch guard and make sure that nothing got him. I'm not entirely sure if my brother believed what we were saying, but he decided to go down anyways. As my brother descended into the woods below, I began to have that feeling again of being watched. That feeling of being watched was now accompanied with the smell of rotting flesh. I couldn't exactly see whatever it was, but I knew it was out there. Not wanting to scare my brother, I didn't say anything.
It's really not scary, but it don't sound like y'all are safe at all.
And let him continue climbing down into the woods. Once at the bottom, my other friend decided to go down. When my friend was around halfway down, he stopped dead in his tracks and shined his flashlight off into the woods. All of us gathered around to see what he was looking at, but we couldn't see anything. Everyone was silent and intently looking for any type of movement. That's when we saw it. At first, it looked like a deer.
What is that? That looked like a deer. Like at first, you would say it looked like a deer, but now actually looking at it, it looked like some type of deer human, right?
Deer, but all of its flesh had rotted off of it. My brother, being on the ground, was not able to see what we were looking at. He had no idea that the creature was only a few meters away from him. Without hesitating, I told my brother to run and to get Dad. My brother took off into the dark woods, leaving his flashlight on. I looked back to see the creature again, but the creature was gone. I feared the worst and thought that it was going for my brother.
Y'all in a scary movie and y'all see some type of creature disappearing like that, like the Flash, do you know something's gonna happen?
Rather slow, and him leaving his light on made him an easy target. We all screamed for him to run faster and to not stop or look back at all. But as we were screaming, we saw his flashlight stop moving. We were all terrified. Whatever that thing was, it probably had my brother. The time that this story took place was before cell phones, so calling for help was out of the question. We were sitting ducks in that treehouse.
Before cell
About 10
phone
minutes
ever
later, that smell of rotting flesh
before
came
y'all
back
had
again. We turned off our flashlights so that we wouldn't give away our position. I think the thing knew that we were out there, but didn't know that we were in a tree. We could hear the thing huffing and making grunting sounds beneath our treehouse. It was frustrated. I think it could smell us, but didn't have the common sense to look up. All of us
were you're telling me it smelled the fear in y'all, or it smelled the bitch in y'all?
Staring down into the dark woods, listening for any sounds. After 5 or 10 minutes of complete silence, one of my friends decided to turn on the flashlight, a move to this day I regret. When he turned the flashlight on, it illuminated the bottom of the woods, which revealed a horrifying sight. The gross and decrepit creature was next to the ladder, looking up at us.
How he got through the ladder?
When it finally realized where we were, it let out this horrific screech, a sound that I can only describe as our certain death.
Out of my ear.
The creature then began to climb. The thing was slow and deliberate, knowing well that we weren't able to go anywhere. It was as if it was playing with its food. When the creature was about halfway up the ladder, the sound of a gunshot pierced the night. We were all stunned. The shot had hit a good portion of the creature, and the creature climbed down the ladder. More shots rang out, and the creature ran off into the woods, but it didn't seem injured. We looked down to find my father shooting at the creature, with my brother with him. My brother had made it back. We all...
At first, I thought the creature ate your brother, killed your brother, but I'm glad your father came, because as a parent, if your kid is in the woods by itself, and with no service, nowhere to call you anything, then you should already be worrying about them. If you're not like that father, you're not being a parent.
Climbed down the ladder and raced back.
So y'all talking about...
I'll never forget the first time I heard it. The scratching beneath the floorboards wasn't what terrified me. It was when I heard my own voice calling my dog's name from under the house.
Dog's name?
While I was standing in the hallway, frozen in disbelief.
Why the narrator is talking in a creepy, vulnerable voice?
Some creatures shouldn't exist at all.
Yeah.
In January, I moved into a small house on the edge of San Juan National Forest. After my divorce was finalized,
a small little house.
I was looking for peace and
solitude. By yourself, like
somewhere to rebuild my life away from the chaos of the city and the memories of my failed marriage. The house was old and charming. The thing I loved the most was the windows caught the morning light just right.
Hey,
it was perfect for just me and Max, my beloved dog, who had been my loyal companion through the darkest days of the separation. From the beginning, though, I had noticed something was off. Max was behaving weird. He was usually curious and bold, but now he wouldn't go near the crawl space entrance in the hallway. He would avoid that section of the house entirely, and sometimes, when passing by, Stop and growl, hackles raised, eyes fixed on that small wooden door.
So why is he fixing on that small little hatch? There's something gotta be in that hatch that making him act the way he is. It had to, cause there's no way no dog would just bark out of the blue.
Into the wall.
Or is
I heard it while I was going to bed.
That we saw
when I looked into the hallway mirror, I saw Max standing frozen at the end of the corridor, staring at the crawl space entrance, a continuous growl rumbling from deep within his chest. The voice repeated again.
Max, come here. Max.
The voice sounded deep and distorted, as if something was struggling to form words with unfamiliar vocal cords. It sounded like hearing yourself on a recorder, played at half speed.
Yeah, it do sound like yourself playing on a recorder or a broken record, and you just hearing that same word over and over again.
I couldn't sleep that night. The next morning, with daylight streaming through the windows, I worked up the courage to investigate. I pulled open the crawl space door and shined my flashlight inside.
Alright, let's see what
I found made my blood run cold. There were scratch marks on the wooden beams, deep gorges into the wood, too substantial to be from a raccoon or even a bobcat. But that wasn't the worst part of it.
Then you can tell it's not
arranged in a perfect spiral on the dirt floor were dozens of animal bones, and in the center, a tattered scrap of what looked like human clothing. My hands trembling, I immediately called the local animal control officer. James was a burly guy in his 50s who had seen everything in his 30 years of patrolling these mountains. Or so I thought. When he emerged from the crawl space, his face had gone pale beneath his beard. Whatever made those tracks wasn't walking on four legs. He advised me to stay somewhere else for a few nights while he set up camera.
So basically what he's saying is, get out of your house, find a hotel, find somebody that you can stay with until he can find out what type of creature or who is doing this.
And traps. I searched for Oz, stumbling through the underbrush, but Max was gone. Exhausted and heartbroken,
the only person
I returned to the house as dawn broke. As I was reaching the house, I heard Max barking. I was feeling relieved and happy, but when I entered the house, the barking was coming from under the floor. Then it shifted to a laugh. Again laughing. The sound was inhumane. It was my voice and Max's bark blended together in a horrifying cacophony that seemed to vibrate through the entire house. I just stood there, paralyzed, as laughter faded into silence, leaving the sound of my own ragged breathing. I moved out that morning, threw whatever I could fit into my truck, and didn't look back. I never returned for the rest of my things, never filed a police report about Max, never told anyone what I had heard. 3 months later, I saw a news report. A young couple had bought the house. They'd gone missing within a week of moving in. Their families reported they'd stopped answering calls, and when police investigated, they found the house empty, except for the crawl space door, which stood wide open. Sometimes I wake up, hearing that voice, my voice, calling in the darkness, and I wonder if I really escaped it all, or if something has followed me out of that house. Something that waits beneath whatever floor I walk on, learning my sounds, my patterns, my voice. Because
one thing is, this story, it getting like more, I was about to say creepy, but it getting more like thought there.
But as I drove away that morning, was a whisper from the backseat of my truck.
You left the door. If you have enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more stories.
What are you trying to say? You left the door open. What are you trying to say? Holy moly.
We've never spoken about this particular event, not even among ourselves, after it happened. It was with my friends Ben and Ryan, and myself, going camping into the woods, like we used to do when we got a weekend off. Or at least used to do.
But this time not.
In general, we tried to go to new places. There was this one forest in particular, situated 2 hours away from our city, that we've been talking about. We've been putting it off for a while because it was said to be dangerous, packed with wild animals that would attack campers often. Ben, in his usual part of trying to be a badass, said he would take out his shotgun and we'd be safe. Ryan was a bit of a wimp, but he agreed, so we drove there as soon as we were able to when we had a free weekend. We got there by mid-afternoon. After we set up camp and the night was beginning to set in, we decided to go out for a walk. We secured our stuff and Ben took out his shotgun in case any animals approached us, and we started following a small path that got deeper into the woods. Walks in the dark like these would always relax me, but this time I was starting to feel uneasy. Something was off. About half an hour of walking, we started to hear noises getting closer to us. They sounded like footsteps of several big creatures closing in on us. But to this day, I swear I could also hear soft whispers beneath the noises. Feeling like cornered animals, in total panic, we began running back through the path that we had come on. During this, I somehow lost Ben and Ryan, and we could not even see their flashlights in the distance. I kept on, running crapless. At some point, I ran past an old house, which seemed to have suffered a fire.
Isn't that like
the windows were boarded up, but the doors seemed to be half open.
Normally, you see like old cabinet like that, not a house. So somebody had to been living in that place and had to been hiding from something.
Suddenly I heard something coming from inside. Terrified at first, I froze, but then I realized it was actually Ryan, calling for me to come inside. I was doubtful at first, for some reason, but as soon as I heard the animal sounds coming closer to me, I bolted into the house and closed the door. I lifted my flashlight to look around, and there was Ryan. I pointed the light to his eyes, but he didn't seem to react much to it.
I thought there was something behind
him. He seemed
and the
really
minute
calm,
I thought something
which was odd for him.
Behind him.
Let's stay here for now, he said, in a relaxed tone of voice. Those things out there could be dangerous. Now, I was worried about Ben, but remember that worst case scenario, he had a shotgun, ready if anything attacked him.
But that's not going to help out. Yeah, he got a shotgun. Yeah, he got a gun. But you think that's going to help him? You think that's going to kill the creature that y'all hear?
A deep breath and started looking around the room. The few chairs that were laying on the floor looked charred, and in one corner of the room, there was a pile of sticks with a bunch of stones scattered around them. All of a sudden, we hear Ben's gun go off twice. I stood there paralyzed, as every other sound in the forest stopped. I glanced briefly at Ryan, and he was just looking at me, completely quiet. I was about to say something when suddenly someone started banging on the door. Ryan immediately grabbed my shoulders and said, "Don't open that door. It could be one of those things." I started walking towards the door and he insisted, "Don't do it. They're gonna kill us." This really just shot. It didn't sink in at first as he was saying, "Hey man, did you hear Ben's gun go off too?" I think we needed to find him and get the hell out of there. I babbled something incomprehensible and slowly turned around, pointing my flashlight all over the room. Nobody was there. When the light reached the corner of the room, I realized what I had been looking at earlier. It was a pile of bones, and around them, forming a circle, were a bunch of skulls. Human skulls. We ran off as fast as we could and found Ben near the campsite. When he saw us,
did somebody die?
And did not say a word. We got in my truck and drove off, and we left the place, leaving all of our stuff behind.
Where Ben? Like y'all say y'all heard Ben gun going off, but y'all didn't say y'all found Ben. Y'all didn't say if Ben was okay. Y'all didn't say if Ben died. What's going on?
The way
so Ben, what? It doesn't make no sense.
It doesn't make no sense.
Arrival. Last week,
Story
my friends
4.
and I went on a
We still got
school-sponsored trip
2
to
more
Alaska.
story left.
Set up. The trip was mostly hiking and backpacking in Denali, where we would camp in tents, and then hike near the Kenai Peninsula, where we would be staying in a cabin.
It don't seem like it's too bad right now. It seems decent, not too much right now.
We converged in front of the supermarket, and the two groups swapped stories and shared some laughs. It was all fun, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong with the other group. It was all incredibly eerie, but no one seemed to notice. Hey, how was your trip at the cabin?
Yeah.
It was good. We had a long hike, and you know what? The forest.
We won!
The stories were incredibly vague, but they would just stop halfway through, as if they caught themselves from mentioning something.
Why are you stopping halfway? Is there something that you're not telling us?
When I tried to question them further or go into details about their trip, They would simply become dazed and say it was really all just a blur. Then getting defensive, they would ask me details about our trip so far. I scoffed and I tried to remember a specific event, only to find that I really didn't remember much either. I began listening to my group's own stories, just being as vague as them. It was all so strange that no one, not even I, immediately noticed. One kid was missing from the other group. Suddenly, though.
So none of y'all noticed that the kid was going from the other group. Now it made total sense.
It hit me. Where's Josh? Everyone turned to face me. Their eyes seemed glazed and cloudy. What they said next made my blood run cold.
Who the hell is Josh?
Yeah, like what?
Given a nervous laugh,
wait, so nobody know about the one kid that going?
Only to see they were looking at me with the same expressions.
Why are you laughing?
Nice, man. You had me going for a second there.
So they think you playing a good prank on them, or you just making up some type of joke to get some laugh out of them.
But seriously, what's with your group? You guys are acting all weird, and where's Sarah?
Very funny.
Sarah?
Yeah, real original.
No one named Sarah had ever been in our group, and even I was pissed that he was making fun of me.
But
he looked at me,
like he making fun of y'all.
And we both knew that something was horribly wrong. We both seemingly knew someone who was now forgotten. He looked horrified, and I'm sure I did too. Before I got a chance to talk to him, he was shoved into a separate cars, and we were on our way to our new destinations, their group to Denali, and ours to the more I thought about it, the more I began to convince myself that it must have been a joke by everyone to screw with me.
Yeah.
Josh was...
Everyone probably was making a big joke about Josh, and probably maybe Sarah, right? And they just playing a big little joke on you to make you feel dumb.
Probably hiding in the car, laughing his ass off. I felt like such an idiot for believing that kid had experienced what I had, when he was really just mocking me in front of everyone. I was angry. It was certainly a joke.
It was a joke.
I was actually impressed.
Yeah, I was right.
They got adults in on it too.
Yep.
I was still pretty pissed, and I decided the next time I saw that kid who mocked me, I'd punch him straight in the face. How dare he mess with me by making up someone, Sarah Duffy.
You're definitely gonna get in trouble. Maybe the parent will go across on you just because you broken nose. Maybe you blame him. It depends.
Yeah, my mind froze. Duffy.
Alright.
He had never said the last name. Where did I get that from? And why did it sound so familiar? What startled me was that I even had a face to put with the name. My mind suddenly exploded with pictures and memories. Sarah. She was my goddamn best friend. How the hell did I forget about her? I was clutching my head and gasping for air as everyone in the car looked at me and began yelling for me to calm the hell down.
True friend if I forgot about my
mind felt like it was being smashed with a sledgehammer. And the more my memory cleared, the worse it got. The memories continued rushing back into my head, threatening to split my mind into two, until suddenly it was all over. I sat up and leery.
He pulling a stunt.
You guys don't know Sarah? She was my friend. She was your friend, for Christ's sake. Kevin, you made fun of her goofy hair right when we got off the plane in Anchorage. Please, for the love of God, tell me you remember that.
That joke has run its course.
Not one of them showed any signs of recognition.
Not one showed signs.
I tried to remember the last time I had seen her, but any recent memories were still elusive and blurry. We strapped our bags and set out on our 7-mile hike to where the secluded lakeside cabin lay. About an hour in, I suddenly fell to my knees and then collapsed to the muddy ground. I had been trying to remember when I had last seen Sarah, when it all came flooding back in a horrific wave of grotesque images and unimaginable terrors.
Don't tell me that walking here.
There we were, at Denali campground. Without thinking, I immediately ran off into the forest after shoving my way through thick spruce and willows. I reached a clearing where I could barely see Sarah's body on the ground as something, obscured by the trees and underbrush, was ripping her open. She was screaming with all her might.
And yo, I thought we would get a clean, faithful story. And I thought it was gonna be four straight roll story without one of y'all dying. And now it definitely is.
its long way around her head. The sound of her death was horrendous, as bones snapped and skin was peeled away. I wanted to help, but I couldn't bring myself to move. I was still paralyzed with fear when it suddenly turned towards me. Sarah's grotesque and shredded carcass was now horribly reanimated, and it began crawling towards me.
Why you just stand there? Run!
I began frantically sprinting back towards the camp. Sarah's corpse could have easily caught with me crawling, but the thick underbrush forced it to stand up awkwardly and began a demented walk in which everything moved all wrong. This fortunately enough time revelation.
Chapter 3,
I bolted upright to people yelling, cursing, and struggling to their feet. I had fallen on the ground, and many people behind me tripped over my body.
Alright.
God, I'm sorry, guys. The ground is really slick here. Grumbles were heard, and several insults flew my way. But we eventually got up and continued moving. My mind was racing. The fact that I could remember Sarah when no one else could must have had something to do with seeing the creature before it stole her skin. For me, it must have just been the initial shock that caused the lapse in the memory. It was for the same reason that I could remember Josh,
how
while the other
you
kid
remember
didn't.
it, but
My blood
nobody
froze.
else remembers
I
Sarah.
didn't remember Josh because his memory had blocked the horrors from him, because he had seen Josh being taken in the exact same area in which we were now hiking. I slowly turned my head around to look behind me, and surely enough, falling from a quiet distance, I could see a silhouette of some sort of messed up human impersonation.
Josh. So Josh got the same bruise as Sarah, but he was the first victim. But why is the thing doing this to Josh and Sarah? And why people not remembering them, but he can remember them?
Stumbling along just behind our group, wearing the decaying face of Josh. When the creature saw me looking, it darted off the path. It was following us and waiting for something. I doubted it would attack us with such a large group, and I was sure that no one would believe me, so I simply continued hiking. We reached the cabin, and everyone tried to get some last-minute sleep before we started our day. Everyone but me. I knew that the thing was lurking in the darkness of the woods surrounding the cabin, waiting for one of us to go out alone.
Waiting for the next victim.
He would be hiking up a mountain
people are not
to
enough
reach the
for
base,
that creature.
and thus making the trip. No, you have to come with us. You have to stay together.
Jesus, John, if she's not feeling well, let her stay.
That's not it.
Why y'all don't listen to John? John's trying to protect y'all. He know what's out there, and y'all not believing him because y'all think he's just some creepy guy that's telling mythical tales or stories.
Fine, I'll stay too.
You don't have to do that, John. I'll be fine here alone.
No, you
won't.
No, you won't.
I don't want to go to this dumb hike anyway. Everyone looked at me weirdly and headed off into the woods. I wasn't sure if we could be any safer with just the two of us, but what else could I have done?
What else?
Alright, we need to get inside the cabin now.
I appreciate you staying with me and all, but you're kind of freaking me out.
Sorry. It's pretty damn wet out here.
Keep you safe.
We should really go inside.
Cause there is something
that's a good
in our
plan.
woods.
I better lay down for a bit.
I saw him, or it, just standing 20 or so feet behind Jenna. Decaying corpse of Josh, disfigured in order to cover whatever thing was wearing it.
What does it want?
I assume
I really don't
it wants
know.
new skin.
Why?
Leave us alone. Get the hell away.
I'm confused. Why does the Skinwalker human want new skin? You already got Josh's skin. Then you got Sarah's skin. So what other skin you need?
She fell to the ground.
Alright.
The thing moved away from the door and now stood a few inches behind one of the windows, staring in at us. Its cold gaze could be felt from behind the dead eyes of Josh's face, and we could see the skin widening as it smiled. The thing simply stood there motionless. Then it slowly lifted up one of its hands and began lightly rapping on the window. It had no intentions of breaking the window or anything. It just wanted to let us know that it was there. This continued for several hours as the sunlight slowly faded away and the rain and wind picked up. Soon the sound of it knocking was almost drowned out, and I was having to strain to see it in the dim light. At one point, I let my eyes wander for too long, and when I looked back, it was gone. It is bad. I think it's tired of waiting.
What I'm telling y'all in the last story, I think it was story 1 or 2, when a creature disappears, you know it's not safe. Because once that creature disappears, the second you close your eyes, the second you turn around, you know it waiting for the right time to hit you or catch you.
What are we gonna do now?
All we need to do is wait for the others to get back. They should be here any minute now.
Who?
The rest of the group. Those guys, you remember?
I don't know who you're talking about. It's always been just the...
Wait, no, man. So, how you don't remember the rest of the group? You don't remember anybody else. And now you're telling me that you say it only been just us two. Now, it makes total sense. Something is definitely messing with y'all head.
2 of us.
My heart practically stopped, and as I sunk to the ground in despair, I began to hear knocks all around.
Staring! Oh, they both of them were there. A group of hikers discovered the remains of unidentified individuals in a tattered dirt journey inside an abandoned cabin in the forest. Daniel Natural. Nah, don't tell me this is actually real. This is not real. Right? Hear this. Police found no record of an Oregon night called the Pursuit in something like that. The individual mentioned in the journal were never found. No records, no document, nothing. The investigation claimed that either the journal was fabricated or the people mentioned in it never existed.
I am a police officer in a town in Arizona.
Story 5.
Our town borders a Navajo reservation.
Welcome to
like
Navajo
most reservations, we have no jurisdiction on it. Since our town borders the reservation, we've gotten many calls from our townspeople saying that they've seen strange things on their lands. We have gotten many UFO calls, which there's obviously nothing that we can do about it.
Hey,
but
if you're a farmer, you get so much farming call about UFO or aliens and people thinking that they're aliens on Earth or something.
We have also gotten strange calls of creatures lurking into people's windows. Some say it looks like a Bigfoot, while others say it's a creature with antlers. Regardless of the call, we still have to go out and make a report. And we get these calls about once a week. Something I'm going to share with you that's currently ongoing is often referred to by me and many officers as the Screaming House. Allow me to provide some context about this case. The Screaming House isn't owned by anyone. No one lives there. But we get calls every week or so from that residence of someone screaming into the phone. All of the calls are at late at night. The call started about 6 months ago. Me and my partner responded to the first call. The call happened at 1:16 in the morning. My partner and I were out there by 1:40. We pulled up to the mailbox and looked down the long dirt driveway. About halfway down the driveway, we noticed a fallen tree covering the path. So we'd have to get out. We pulled our police cruiser up as close as we could and got out. We were able to see the house and that there were no lights on. The house had 2 stories and was very old. My partner and I stopped about 70 yards in front of the house.
Old house always be one of the creepiest things in like a scary movie. It always. I never seen like the nicer house being one of them.
We shined our flashlights all over the property and the house, not seeing anyone. The front door to the house was wide open. How did we get a call from this place? I thought to myself. We walked a couple of yards closer, and that's when we heard it. It wasn't the screaming that we heard on the phone, but rather the crying of a baby. Something isn't right, my partner said. There's no way there's a baby out here. This smells like a trap. I wasn't sure whether to investigate or just to head back. I decided to investigate the house. What if there was an actual toddler that made its way out here and was lost? We decided that I would check the house, while my partner would check the perimeter of the outside.
Oh, so
I
the
entered the
outside
front door
of the house while you
my
check the
flashlight
inside of it.
peering into the dark house. The crying was coming from the basement.
Wait, that help, Bill?
I made my
That help
presence
not bad to
known.
live in
I got
this
no response,
resting
and the
home.
crying continued.
That one thing
I then quickly
that
found the entrance
stand
to the
that
basement
house.
door was missing. I shined my flashlight down. I again made my presence known. The crying stopped. I was about to enter the basement when my partner buzzed me on the walkie.
John, you need to get out of there. Now.
That's when I heard someone moving around upstairs. I bolted out of the house and down the driveway. My partner was already by the car. His gun was drawn and pointed behind me. "We need to go," he said. I jumped in the cruiser and backed the cruiser out of the driveway.
Don't tell me y'all are getting encounter from the deer, skinwalking, human. Like, I can tell when you. All I know is
My partner was asking,
look like one.
Did you see it?
See
no,
what?
I didn't see it, I said. We made our way back to the station. The entire time, my partner telling me what he saw. He said that when he was in the backyard, he heard something behind him. He shined his flashlight around and noticed something upstairs. He said that he was only able to notice its eyes and its teeth. Everything else was just black fur. Now, we do have bears in Arizona, but not in that part of the state. However, on our report, we put the creature as a bear. My partner and I both know that whatever it was, it definitely wasn't a bear. Had my partner not notified me in time, I hate to imagine what would have happened. We still get calls from the screaming house, but we just drive by.
His partner didn't notify him on time or saw that type of saw the creature face.
Evan always loved the wilderness. It was his escape from a life that never quite felt like his own.
No, one more
He'd been
story left
hopping
after.
from one dead-end job after another, failed relationships, and a nagging sense of unease in crowded places. When he came across the opportunity to be a fire watcher in a remote forest outpost, it seemed like the perfect chance to start fresh. There would be no people, no distractions, just nature and solitude. The fire tower was a small, creaky structure in the middle of an expansive, isolated forest. A few days' walk to the nearest town, miles from anyone or anything. He arrived late in the afternoon, the sun casting long shadows over the sea of trees. The air was cool, the silence thick, broken only by the occasional rustling of leaves or the distant cry of an animal. He felt at peace. On his first day, Evan did the routine check. Radio worked, supplies were stocked, and the view from the tower.
What is he checking for? Is he checking for one creature, or is he checking for like something that unease?
Upon finishing up his tasks for the day, he prepared to settle. Randomly, one thing caught his attention.
If I'd been him,
a dusty, old, leather-bound journal sitting on a shelf by the bed.
Doing anything about myself.
He picked it up. The cover was worn, the pages yellowed with age. A note was scribbled inside the front cover in shaky handwriting.
For whoever takes my place, may this serve as a warning. Keep watch, but never trust what you see.
The journal belonged to the previous fire watcher, a man named Harrison Wade. As Evan flipped through the pages, he was struck by how detailed the entries were. The first few weeks were fairly mundane. Reports of smoke in the distance, occasional wildlife encounters, and the challenges of living in isolation. But as he read further, the tone of the journal changed. Harrison's entries became more erratic, more paranoid.
21st January. At night I went in the woods, suspecting some smoke, but I saw something strange, something wrong. It looked like a deer at first, but its eyes looked too human.
There's so much stories in here that talk about this creature. Now we did see the goat man like 2 stories ahead, but this creature is like the main type of creature that a lot of people are talking about.
Too knowing. 24th of January. There's definitely.
He spoke of figures watching him from the tree line, their forms shifting between man and animal. A few times he wrote about seeing his mother calling for help, his brother badly.
And like when we get the story with that creature with the deer antler, it's always stand there watching y'all. Like why? But then when you go to the goat man killing people. So I'm confused on who No, not who, but which one is the most dangerous in the story?
Injured and even mentioned in an
2nd February. The other fire watchers, I saw them today. They came to check in on me, or so they said. But they didn't seem too human. Not anymore. Skins stretched too tight over their bones. Smiles too wide.
Right?
Too forced.
Or they gotta wear like a mask like Jason?
Talk like us, but they're not us. I can't leave.
I would say they could have been like
let me.
Pennywise, but they don't got
Evan felt a chill crawl up his spine. He had met a few of the other fire watchers in passing during his orientation at the ranger station. A small group stationed in towers scattered throughout the forest. They all seemed perfectly normal, even friendly. But according to Harrison's journal, they were something else entirely. Something inhuman. The next entry was even worse.
4th February. Last night, I saw the man in the tower across the valley. He was standing on the edge, staring at me. Just standing there for hours, unmoving, and then he jumped. But when I checked with the binoculars this morning, he was back in the tower, staring again. No one survives a fall like that.
Yeah, a fall from... Didn't he say from that height? Or was it like a medium length?
No one survives a fall like that.
How can you get back in the tower?
Evan put the journal down, feeling a knot of unease twist in his gut.
Yeah.
Was this just the ramblings of a man who had lost his mind in isolation, or was there something more to it? He didn't want to believe it, but the journal made him feel like he wasn't quite alone. That night, he tried to sleep, but every creak of the tower set his nerves on edge. At one point, around midnight, he thought he heard something outside. A faint whispering carried on the wind. He brushed it off as his mind playing tricks on him, a byproduct of reading the journal too late into the evening. But the next day, the unease only grew. From the tower, Evan could see the nearest firewatch tower about a few miles away. He hadn't noticed it before, but now he saw it clearly. Just a dark silhouette against the endless green of the forest. It was empty, or so he thought. That afternoon, through his binoculars, he saw movement. A man, standing on the balcony of the distant tower, staring in his direction. Evan watched for a while, unsettled by how still the figure was. He waved, but the man didn't respond, just kept staring. After a few minutes, Evan lowered the binoculars and tried to shake off the strange feeling gnawing at him. What's up with this guy, he thought. Later that evening, the radio crackled to life.
How's it going out there?
A voice asked. One of the fire watchers he'd met during orientation. Peter, he thought, a friendly, casual voice. Evan responded, trying to keep his voice steady.
Quiet, nothing much to report.
Yeah, keep your voice steady, because you don't know if that's the right person you're talking to.
Same here, just keeping watch. You're doing great, by the way.
The conversation felt ordinary enough, but as the night wore on, Evan couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The voice sounded like Peter, but flat, hollow. There was no warmth in it, just the words themselves, as if someone was mimicking Peter. That night, as Evan lay in bed, the whispering returned. Louder this time. He tried to tell himself it was the wind, but it sounded like voices, several of them, whispering just below the edge of his hearing, too low to understand, but insistent. He covered his ears, squeezed his eyes shut, and eventually drifted off to an uneasy sleep. In the morning, the man in the distant tower was gone. The tower looked like it was abandoned. Evan's anxiety grew over the next few days. The journal consumed him. Every entry seemed to pull him deeper into Harrison's madness. The whispering persisted at night, and he swore he saw movement in the forest below. Dark shapes flitting between the trees.
Don't tell me it's
One night, he glanced out the window and saw figures standing at the edge of the forest, just barely visible in the moonlight. He grabbed his binoculars, but when he looked again, they were gone. The final entry in the journal was dated a week before Evan had arrived.
Why it keep on disappearing? Isn't it disappearing because of light? And when you flash the light in front of it disappears? Not like it killed anything, it just leave because it's afraid of light?
February 27th. They're coming up the tower. All of them. They look like fire watchers, but they're not. They're waiting for me. I can't stay here anymore. I won't become one of them.
Evan's heart raced. What had happened to Harrison? He flipped the page, but the rest of the journal was blank. That night, as Evan lay in bed, the radio crackled again. the same voice as before.
You're doing a great job, Evan. Just stay focused.
Evan swallowed hard. His throat was dry, he replied. There was a pause. Then Peter's voice spoke again, a little too casually.
You've been reading that old journal, haven't you?
Evan's blood ran cold. The voice on the radio chuckled softly, a low, unsettling sound. The radio went silent. Evan sat frozen in his chair, the weight of dread pressing down on him. The whispering outside grew louder. As he sat there thinking about the events going on lately, had he been losing his mind? Or is it an effect of being so isolated? He eventually thought about the conversations with Peter, how he was the only one who radios him timely. Fear gripped Evan, a shiver running through him. One single thought had kept him at unease. Peter always said the same things each time he called up on the radio. He doubted his own mind. Was he really going crazy? Or something is definitely wrong with this place? Trembled.
Not another reflection of you looking at yourself. How in the world that even possible? Why is the urban legend yo, watching this, the urban legend made me think the whole story is true. But then it made me think it's not true. So what is it? Is it real? Is it fake? Or are y'all just playing some mindless trick on us? My dad is
I'm 16, and I live in the backwoods of South Carolina. I've heard stories from the local kids of creepy things that happen in the forest, about 2 miles away from my new home. I decided to go check it out because how scary can it really be? I grabbed a pistol and a knife, as well as a flash.
That tell other people about the urban legend or stories that could have been real. And then I hate the people that go to check out to prove a point or see if they actually tell the truth.
Flashlight, and I head out into the dense forest. As I'm in the forest, it starts to get dark. I turn on my flashlight. A heavy fog all of a sudden rolls in, bringing in a smell of copper and burnt hair. The hairs on the back of my neck start to stand on end. I start to hear this weird sound. It sounds like whispering and giggling. I hear something running around in the woods nearby. I hear it get louder and closer. I turn around and see something crawling extremely fast and low to the ground on all 4 legs. Whatever it was seemed to have arms and legs like a human. I fire a shot right into its back, and I can see the blood splatter and a gunshot wound. It lets out a blood-curdling screech and retreats back into the woods. The fog lifts and the smell suddenly goes away. I nope my way out of there, all the way home. I get home and there it is, right in my driveway.
I can't believe how this creature always there, like, no matter where you're at, right? That creature will all be where you be there, just stand there, waiting to get you, but don't do anything to you.
Towards me and I shoot at it, but the bullets don't seem to fire. My gun was on safety. It jumps up and all I can see are its huge white eyes, and I black out. I wake up some time later on top of my dad's car, with my dad standing over me, trying to wake me up. My head hurts like nothing else, and my ears are ringing. I tell my dad what had happened in the woods, and he just laughs and tells me it was probably nothing.
Nobody gonna
Life
believe
as I know it
goes
goes back to normal for about 3 hours, when my dad says, "Hey Jake, mind getting me some of those steaks out of the fridge?" I look at him and say, "Dad, my name's Nick, not Jake." He just looks at me like he's full of hatred. I just give him the steaks and he just goes into his room with them, uncooked.
How did a father forget the name of his son? And then when you give him the steak, him cook the steak and season well done. Not medium well, not rare done. Rare. Well done. Cause your steak definitely gotta be well done. If it's not well done, then you're not cooking a juicy, perfect steak. Alright? I can cook it. He's to do with that steak.
He comes out of his room about an hour later with only the packaging and throws them away. I don't even think about asking what had happened.
Yeah, don't ask.
At 11 p.m., he tells me to go to bed, which is odd, because it's Friday and he doesn't usually care when I stay up, What I do as I'm told, and I go to my room around
So how your
3:15 in the morning.
How your dad
door
forget
opens.
all this? It's
It's
Friday.
my dad.
Your dad don't care if
I
it's
say
still on
nothing
Friday.
and pretend
Your
to
dad
be asleep.
go
The smell of
unstate.
copper returns to the
Then
air,
you
and
forget
I
your
feel
name,
sick
call you
to my stomach.
a different name.
My dad just sits on the edge of my bed and just looks at me for what I would say to be about 30 minutes. He then mumbles something under his breath with the voice I don't recognize. My blood turns cold, and I just lay there. He finally gets up and leaves, and I finally am relieved, but I cannot sleep the whole night and just lay there in my bed. Finally, the next morning, I get up and I go out into the living room. My dad is asleep on his lazy boy recliner, and his nose is bleeding. I wake him up and I tell him I'm spooked, and I ask him about the blood. He has no idea where it came from. I ask him about the night before, and he has no idea what I'm talking about. And he doesn't remember waking me up from being on top of his car. My heart drops when he states that it was still Friday, when I know for a fact that it was definitely Saturday. He argues with me until I show him my phone with the day and time. At this point, we are both freaked out.
At this point, how are you getting the day mixed up, getting your son's name mixed up, and bringing uncooked steak to your room?
I've never ventured out into the woods.
Wrap it up for this one. If you find this helpful, hit that subscribe circle right in the top corner so you don't miss next week's drop. If you want to dive deeper into this topic, I put together a full playlist right here. Otherwise, you do things you love this special video.
Misunderstood, so misunderstood. My temper is bad, my mission is good. I never be labeled as good. I never be labeled as mentally stable.